It's indeed an honor to be here with you. It's indeed an honor to welcome you to this community. And we are very excited about you sharing with us your experience both at home and abroad. And we're happy to learn from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, over the next few minutes, I'll be seated with His Excellency here, and I'll ask him a few questions. We would engage in learning about his life, learning about his experience, and get some insights of some of his plans for my dear country. So, His Excellency, welcome once again. From what we know, up until 2008, you could be described as an economist, a banker, a technocrat. We have a lot of very, very aspiring Africans in the room today, and we would like to hear what was your decision-making process to move from a technocrat to a politician?
My entry into politics was as surprising for me as anybody else. I, as you know, was a central banker, deputy governor of the central bank. And one fine afternoon in August, I had a call that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo wanted to talk to me. In fact, I really had never talked to him one-on-one. I had seen him in different places. He was our foreign minister, after all, veteran politician. So I was wondering, what does Nana Akufo-Addo want with me? I assumed very quickly he may want to talk about the economy. So I gathered my statistical data with me and took the trip to go to see him. As we talked about the economy a little. I wasn't quite sure where the conversation was headed until he broached the question. He says, you know why I want to, talk to you today. I said, no. He says, well, I want you to be my vice presidential candidate. And I said, oh, are you kidding me, really? I've never really intended to go into politics. He says, yes, I don't want you to do politics. I want you to come and do economics. Because as vice president, you'll be my head of economic management team. I wasn't quite convinced. I said, let me think about it. And then I went home and talked to my wife and a few friends. My wife reminded me that she had just married a banker, not a politician. And so the whole uncertainty was something that we had to contend with. And so I saw it as an opportunity to serve the country in that capacity. So I basically, the next day, agreed to do it and got transformed from the technocrat to the politician in 24 hours. It was not an easy thing because I had to get on stage and do all sorts of dances, which I was not used to. And sort of talk. As a central banker, you don't talk a lot. I needed to communicate in a different way. But I, over time, I've become accustomed to it.
Thank you. Excellent. Moving on to my next question, I would ask, how are you thinking about unlocking the leadership potential of the millions of young people in Ghana?
Well, thank you very much. That is a major issue that we face because you learn in economics that the key to development in terms of real transformation is human capital.
Yes.
It's human capital. That is the heart of the matter. And so the unlocking of the leadership potential of the young who really form the majority of our population then becomes very critical in transforming or making sure the human capital you have plays a transformative role. I think you have a number of ways of unlocking that potential, and this is part of what we are trying to do. First of all, you have to educate that population. And this is why in Ghana we are redefining basic education as coming from kindergarten all the way to senior high school. That redefinition is for a purpose so that nobody is left behind, because so many young people who are potential leaders of this country are left behind because they are unable to finish high school. You know, you also need an economy that is growing. And this is why we are here. We want to make sure that, because if the cost of doing business is high, the young people find it very difficult to assume leadership positions in many sectors of the economy. If you have to take, several years, like Ashesi, to get accreditation, yes, which is mind-boggling. We had the same problem at Central University, which is mind-boggling. Or you are a medical doctor in the United States and you find it difficult to get a license to practice in Ghana. These are the sort of things we want to dismantle. We are here in Mauritius because we want to deepen our partnership with Mauritius. Mauritius is the most friendly country in Africa for business. All the rankings show that. Now we are serving them warning that Ghana is very soon going to be the most friendly country for business. I wrote a paper which had a lot of discussion, and when I was in graduate school, it was entitled The Economics of Racism. And at that time, I was being teased that everything I see is in economics. Everything, I want to explain everything in economics. How can I explain racism in economics? I said, every black person in the world is seen against the backdrop of what is happening in Africa. The diaspora is very linked to Africa. So if Africa is doing well, it reflects on the diaspora. If we are not doing well, it reflects on the diaspora. And so if we want, the respect for all our peoples in the diaspora in Africa, we have to emancipate ourselves economically. We don't have to take begging bowls across the world to look for aid. We should look for investment, we should look for trade, and we should look for deeper cooperation amongst the countries of the South and of Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we at ALU, I'm so happy that you're saying all of this. It seems like you're here in our offices with us and you've been listening to the conversations that we have over here. One of our values here at ALU is continuous learning. We are a big proponent of learning from people who have gone before us, standing on the shoulders of leaders who have succeeded, and learning from them. So my next question was, what are other African examples that Ghana can emulate, as indeed we are on, as indeed change has come, and we are at the cusp of something, we are the cusp of the African century. So what would you say are other African examples that Ghana can emulate?
Yes, I think, as you know, Ghana was one of the first countries in sub-Saharan Africa to get independence in 1957. And so we were standard bearers in many respects to start with. Of course, over the years, we've got our ups and downs, and other countries have actually come in, especially countries like Rwanda, who, after years of civil war, have moved to chart a course, a very pragmatic course of economic development that has really made them rank very highly in the area of the business environment, and less bureaucracy, more transparency and accountability in government. So Rwanda, I think, is definitely a country that we think that we can emulate. You have a place like Mauritius, as I told you, is also another place where we can do a lot to emulate in terms of their economic policy. So we are going to stand shoulder to shoulder with successful African countries, and we are also ready to share our successes in Ghana with other countries. There's a lot that we can do, and we are going to put our shoulders to the wheel to do that.
Thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure sitting with you and gleaning from your wisdom. I say that we at ALU are fully supportive of everything that you have said that you're going to do, and we're standing here boldly to say, we are willing to support in whatever way, in whatever capacity possible. Thank you once again, Mr. Vice President, for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.